So far away, Lucas, who's your favourite actor who appeared in a movie after they were dead?
There's that really awkward scene at the end of Rise of Skywalker, right? Where they just had to bring Carrie Fisher back in. It's like...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she was also in, Rogue One? Little CGI Carrie Fisher in there, along with, like, CGI Peter Cushing.
Well, that was, like, young Carrie Fisher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an interesting move.
Yeah, and you know what? Studios have been doing this thing for a long time, as we're about to discuss when they did it with Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee is often regarded as one of the greatest martial artists to have ever lived, and his movies are considered to be the greatest examples of the martial arts genre. Something that's kind of impressive when you consider that Bruce Lee only appeared in 5 movies during his lifetime, and for one of those, he was already dead, which required some, shall I say, creative problem solving.
There are only 5 movies starring Bruce Lee.
There are 5 Bruce Lee movies, one of which he was dead for, and it is, ironically enough, the one called Game of Death. And this is quite an interesting subject to talk about, because the idea of putting an actor in a movie after they're dead seems like such a modern phenomenon. Like we mentioned Carrie Fisher in the intro and Peter Cushing. I went and watched Alien Romulus yesterday with my dad. And I'm just going to say, Alien Romulus is pretty good. My favourite part of the movie is when an alien appeared on screen and my dad nudged me and went, "It's an alien."
Young?
Stop playing around, man. Just get up.
I'm not playing around. There's something in the water.
Which is just such a dad thing, right? But Ian Holm is in that movie. He's been dead for like 10 years. They resurrected him as Ash. And it's really distracting because he's a main character in the film. And they spend so long when they drag like this fucking android up onto like this workbench. And they have it in like profile for a bunch of the movie. And it's like, oh, is it going to be Ian Holm? Did they CGI Ian Holm? And literally, the second you see his face, you're like, ooh, that just looks bad. They've still not got it right. And he's on screen for a good 20% of the movie. And even my dad, who's like not too clued in on that stuff after the film was ended, like, I'm pretty sure that guy died, right? I'm like, yeah, he did. He went, I thought his face looked weird.
I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
It's one of those things where I'm used to kind of the idea, for example, of watching Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, where he's just made to look younger throughout a lot of the film.
It feels different enough, right, where the actor's still alive and could give their permission. Like Harrison Ford had to sign away permission for them to create the CGI, like Indiana Jones. Even though you know, when Harrison Ford ultimately passes away, they're going to take that CGI Indiana Jones and make him appear in 5 Indiana Jones movies a year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how like all the strikes and stuff go with getting actual rights for all of those things in between. But
hey, Lucas, dead people got no rights. Dead people got no fucking rights. We can dig those skeletons up and marionette them in front of a green screen for the rest of their like existence.
Well, speaking of Star Wars, I believe there was a news story recently where a few actors would get basically like sold their voice for AI use, and one of them was James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah. Like they just went to his house with the dump truck full of money and said, "Can we just get a sound library of your voice so Darth Vader will live forever?" And he's like, "How much money do I get? Sure, whatever."
Yeah,
because he's James. And just... I don't like that, but at least the actor is alive and can give their permission for it to happen. It's when like the actor's dead and it's their estate who gives permission. As happened with Ian Holm in Alien Romulus, where I looked it up after the fact. It's like his estate gave permission, and because he died before the advent of CG, or like widespread use of CG, like scanning actors' faces, the way they managed to get the version of him for that film is they tracked down like the people who did the special effects for the Lord of the Rings movies because he had a cast of his face made for like a fake beard or something.
Right.
And they used that, and the same thing happened with Peter Cushing. This is like a little known fact, and I got it myself from the Red Letter Media review of Top Secret, in which Peter Cushing appears, and he had a mould made of his face so they can give him like a giant eyeball for a joke, because the joke in the film is he's looking through a magnifying glass, and you see the big eye. Then he pulls that magnifying glass down, and he just has a big eye. because it's, you know, it's funny. And they took the mold for that to make the CGI Peter Cushing for Rogue One. And apparently that was just this film that no one remembered, but somewhere out there was a mold of this guy's face. It's like, fuck it, get it. Get it so we can resurrect Grand Moff Tarkin. He's not allowed to die.
Yeah, and I know they recently announced, or at least re-announced, I'm not sure whether it was a brand new announcement, but they talked about an experience that they're making at one of the Disneylands where they're resurrecting, like, Walt Disney and having him do, like...
You know what? I'm happy with that, because fuck it, Walt Disney deserves it. Like, I'm so sick of his company doing it to other people. Fuck it, do it to Walt Disney. See how he likes it.
That's true. Yeah, like, they've got him doing some kind of, like, you know, on-stage experience
dance.
where it's
Not
like...
make him dance.
Yeah, literally making him, like, you know, sing and dance on stage.
Never let him sleep. Dig up his corpse and marionette it in front of the green screen. See how he likes it. And if his family complains that it's disrespectful to our dad's memory, fuck him. You've done it to enough people, it's your turn now.
But you know that they had, like, some people from Walt Disney's family, like, oh, we dragged out his, like, nephew on stage to be like, I approve, so he can walk off stage and get handed a big bag of money.
I want to do it, so, like, Walt Disney, have it done to him. Like I said, drag his skeleton out and give me a chance, and just sell tickets to beat it with a shovel.
Get that frozen head from under Disney World.
And just let me play golf with it. Let me play croquet with his skull. I don't give a fuck. Like, he deserves it. Because his company's trying to do the same thing. His company wants to own everything and own every actor's likeness. And, like, just put them in movies forever. It's your fault.
We've heard word of rumours circulating through the city. Apparently, you've lost a rather talkative cargo pilot.
And we can't not mention Black Mirror, because they've dealt with this exact subject twice now. The one that I'm more familiar with is the episode where they have Miley Cyrus in a coma, and they're just going into her brain and pulling out, like, just her screams of agony and just turning it into bubblegum pop.
Oh my god.
It's like they say, like, oh look, we can just make Miley Cyrus songs forever. Look, we've got some, like, even though she's in a coma, we can read her brainwaves, and they just, like, play them. It's her going, help me, I want to die, end it all. It's like, but don't worry, we'll pass it through the filter, and it comes out as this bubblegum pop song. It's like, we can make money forever.
Slow it down, see if it's salvageable.
See the animal in the cage you built.
Pitch shift?
See the animal
Increase the positivity?
in the cage you built. Spotlight on me shining strong.
Oh my god. And, like, that's the horrible thing, because I know years ago this conversation started happening with, oh, you can get, you know, an hour worth of someone's audio recording, and then you can create, like, a catalogue where you can make them say whatever you want, and now it's like, we need a 5-second voice clip, and we can perfectly just recreate somebody's voice, and now they've got deep fakes that are happening live on webcam, like, in real time.
I can see absolutely nothing that could go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I can't foresee any issue that would arise from being able to basically perfectly emulate another human being's face and their voice. Like, I've not watched, like, Mission Impossible movies.
I like how that's where you went with it.
It's what Tom... I think in the Mission Impossible movies, the fact that Tom Cruise isn't wearing someone else's face the entire time is ridiculous. I'd be doing it as the president. Do you like,
yeah.
The thing as well, imagine, like, the propaganda, like, use you could have for that mask thing. Of, like, if you want to be, like, you're a president with, like, waning appeal, just get, like, is it Ethan Hunt in those movies?
Yes, yeah.
So I just call him Tom Cruise. Get Ethan Hunt to do all these crazy bullshit stunts with your face on, and just use that as your marketing campaign. Like, right at the top of Burj Khalifa, like, I'll climb any height for you, America.
They always seem to, you know, plan out a target and say, we're going to make one mask of this one person. I'd have that machine sitting there 24/7, just any person of influence, just make a mask of them.
The thing is, if I was Ethan Hunt, I would specifically go to shoot someone wearing their own face. Just because that's that's the last moments of their life are going to be so confusing, right?
It's like, obviously, you know, rest in peace, but I think MI3, where Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it, and he just, like, looks up from washing his face in the sink, and there's Philip Seymour Hoffman behind him. He's like,
wait, what?
Fuck?
Gets his ass beat by his own face. I never expected this, but let's bring it back to Bruce Lee and talk about beating someone's ass with Bruce Lee's face. Because, you know, it probably seems like a very modern thing to have an actor resurrected and from beyond the grave and made to star in a movie, but it happened decades ago, and it happened with Bruce Lee for Game of Death. And Game of Death, despite being a film for which Bruce Lee filmed about 11 minutes of workable footage, is probably one of the more famous films of his career. For example, Lucas, what's the image you think of when you think of Bruce Lee? Like, what's the outfit he's wearing?
It's the yellow jumpsuit with the black stripes, right?
Yeah, that's from Game of Death.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Do you know, like, the look that everybody has stolen? Like, every game that has the Bruce Lee-inspired character, like Martial Law or Jan Lee or something, they wear that yellow jumpsuit.
Yo, 見事。ほらよ。
And of course, there is it from, like, maybe it's like Enter the Dragon, where it's just him shirtless with the scar across the chest.
The scar across the chest,
That's the other, like, iconic image I think of, but in terms of an outfit...
It's the yellow jumpsuit, right? The yellow jumpsuit is what people think when they think Bruce Lee. It's the outfit people always reference when they put in the Bruce Lee reference. It's the outfit the bride wears in Kill Bill. And I think that outfit improves upon Bruce Lee's version, if only because the bride has like texture on the soles of her shoes that say "fuck you." And I think if Bruce Lee would have lived long enough to finish Game of Death, he would have insisted on having that detail on his outfit too.
Oh man, I never knew that detail. That's cool.
Lucas, are you honestly saying you didn't think that Quentin Tarantino would have put in a really specific detail on Uma Thurman's feet?
I should have seen it coming, right?
Wiggle your big toe. Wiggle your big toe.
Despite the positives about Game of Death, like I said, it's where the most enduring image of Bruce Lee comes from, it does have some issues, right? Namely the fact that Bruce Lee, as mentioned, filmed 11 minutes of workable footage, which forced the people making it to come up with some rather creative solutions for why Bruce Lee wasn't there. And do you want to hazard a guess at what they did, Lucas, to explain away the fact that Bruce Lee wasn't in a movie with Bruce Lee on the cover?
Maybe like an injury in a fight?
Oh yeah, that's what they did, yeah. So within the first 5 minutes of the movie, Bruce Lee's character gets shot in the face. So they have him shot in the face.
Do they survive?
Yeah, and that allows them to just hire a random Asian dude who looks nothing like Bruce Lee and just say, oh, that's Bruce Lee with facial reconstructive surgery. And the scene where they're deciding what he's going to look like, what they do is they get a headshot of Bruce Lee and have the character with all the facial bandages on just draw a beard and some sunglasses onto it. And you probably think, that's an exaggeration, right? I'm going to send you the image from the film, Lucas.
Oh, no.
What do you see?
Holy fuck.
Yeah. It's just a guy, and he's got, like, the invisible man bandages on, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of when there was that character in Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes who was, like, a secret, and it just was Hideo Kojima all along.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, they've drawn like it's literally showing you like just doodling on a school textbook, and you draw like the big Ray-Bans and a stupid mustache on there. The only thing it's missing is like that cool S everybody drew and a spliff, right? And it's so obviously just a headshot of Bruce Lee. And because they establish in the film, oh no, Bruce Lee's character got shot in the face, and we've got to have this reconstructive surgery to make his face whole again, they could just hire some random Asian dude and just put him in a beard and say that's Bruce Lee. And again, Lucas probably thinking, well, he must have looked at least a little bit like Bruce Lee, right?
Oh,
Saying,
no.
Lucas, I'm sending you a picture. Does that look like Bruce Lee, or does that just look like random Asian dude wearing a fake beard and giant facial obscuring sunglasses?
What the actual fuck?
And that's the thing. Did you think, like, it was going to be that bad?
No, I didn't.
Did you think it was going to be that bad? And
Oh,
do you know when I joked and said it would be less offensive to marionette a skeleton in front of a green screen unless that part was cut out? I think legitimately, if you got his skeleton and marionetted it in front of a green screen kicking bad guys, it'd have been less offensive, because at least that way Bruce Lee would have got to fight someone.
Just done a weekend at Bernie's on him. And I did check as well that, obviously, you know, a well-known fact is that Hannibal Lecter won an Oscar with barely any screen time in Silence of the Lambs.
16 minutes, I think.
And yeah, 16 minutes. So even the, like, role that defines the they weren't on screen that much still had more screen time than Bruce Lee.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, a lot of, like, the workable screen time he had was just choreographed footage. So it wasn't even footage they were going to use in the movie, it was footage they shot of Bruce Lee choreographing the fight scene. So it's of noticeable lesser quality than the rest of the film. Because they weren't going to put it into the film, they were going to use it as reference for the fight scenes. And they got some, like, you know, some pickup shots and stuff like that, like B-roll, but Bruce Lee wasn't in them because he was in his trailer working on, like, you know, choreography.
Yeah, like learning his fights and his scripts and shit, yeah.
So the only stuff they had with Bruce Lee in it was the stuff that they were never going to put into the final product.
And did they end up using that, though, in the, like, out of desperation?
Basically, they just used whatever they could. Any scrap that had Bruce Lee in it, they used it. And then, just as I said, they wrote a reason into the story for his character to have to undergo surgery, so he'd look different and also could wear, like, the Invisible Man face bandages for as much of the movie as would be reasonable. Even though if you get shot in the face, you're probably going to be wearing bandages for a longer time than the character does. Also, you're probably not going to go out there and, like, karate kicking someone anytime soon.
Hey, at least they made it look convincing.
Well, Lucas, speaking of which, do you know when I said it couldn't get worse? Oh, it gets worse. Because this is a Fact Fiend video, and there's always that Fact Fiend twist. So, if you thought getting a random Asian dude, making him wear a beard and sunglasses and saying it's Bruce Lee, if you didn't think that was, if you thought that was offensive to Bruce Lee's memory, it gets worse. Because there's a scene where the character looks into a mirror, but they didn't have any footage of Bruce Lee looking into a mirror. What they did have, though, is a random still from a Bruce Lee movie where he's looking in kind of the same direction. So what they did is they cut that out, put it onto the mirror, and then got the actor who was pretending to be him to position themselves so it looked like it was their head. And Lucas, however bad you're imagining this shot looks, nothing can prepare you for how bad it actually looks in the final film.
You're sitting right there by the telephone, just waiting for you to call. But patience, that's not one of our virtues. Don't be a slow learner, Billy.
Oh.
That's bad, right?
Because, like, when you said cut it out, I thought you might have been like they've mattered it in.
No.
But that looks like they've stuck a picture onto the mirror.
Yeah, I think it's a photo of Bruce. It's a publicity still of, like, another movie with Bruce Lee in it that they cut out of, like, a magazine and stuck it to the mirror in the scene. So it's not even done in post-production, it was done in camera. They just stuck it to the mirror and told the actor to sit still as he looked into the mirror. And you can see that. The actor's not even looking the same way, and Bruce Lee's head's slightly too big.
Yeah, the head's a little bit too big and not looking in the right direction.
And
like,
Lucas.
The lighting's a little bit different as well.
And Lucas, right, you might think that's the most offensive thing they could have done to Bruce Lee's memory. But it gets just a little bit worse. There's another just classic Fact Fiend twist coming up now, because they also establish in the film that Bruce Lee's character fakes their own death. And it just so happens that production had some footage of a funeral. Do you want to guess whose funeral it was?
they put Bruce Lee's funeral in the movie.
They didn't put Bruce Lee's funeral into the movie, Lucas. They put footage of Bruce Lee's funeral when he was having his open casket so his friends and family could say their goodbyes.
Holy fuck.
They filmed his corpse, and I'm not putting this clip in. Like,
no.
The rest of this, it's been funny in that macabre way of, it's so ridiculous they did this. This is legitimately disgusting. Like, it's...
Yeah, that is genuinely horrible.
They filmed his funeral and put his corpse in the movie.
That's rough.
And it's like I said, it would have been less offensive if they got his skeleton and swung it around on strings. I legit think it would have been, right?
At least there would have been some, like,
action,
potential comedic value out of that.
Yeah, and I don't really know what else to say besides, I didn't think Hollywood could get any worse, but it seems that Hollywood's always been this bad. It's always been this bad. Like, did you know that after Bruce Lee died, like, they got Jackie Chan in and just said, okay, Jackie Chan, you're Bruce Lee now? I was like, what? It's like, you're Bruce Lee. And they made him appear in a movie called Fist of Fury 2, and they billed him as the next Bruce Lee. And they made Jackie Chan just fight like Bruce Lee and tried to, like, shave his hair so he looked like Bruce Lee. They didn't
So they tried to make it out like he was the same character?
They just made out like, no, he's the next Bruce Lee.
Right.
And they sold him as, like, the next Bruce Lee. And it's like,
but
Jackie
they didn't
Chan.
sell him as actual Bruce Lee.
No, but some, like, less reputable film studios did do that. Some of them just got, like, again, just a random Asian dude who sort of looked like Bruce Lee and sold it as a Bruce Lee movie. And they did that so they could sell, like, you know, the VHS tapes to, like, Blockbuster or something. They're just like, oh, it's a lost action movie starring Bruce Lee. And they're just, like, sometimes just splice in random footage of other Bruce Lee movies and just have a random Asian dude who sort of look like him. And it's, yeah, Hollywood and just the movie industry in general has always been shit.
Yeah.
And it's just the technology has finally caught up and allowed them to be even shittier. Because they presumably would have been doing this the entire time.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that they have, and no one's safe.
You can guarantee that if they had the technology to have CGI'd Bruce Lee into Game of Death back in the day, they'd have done it.
They'd have 100% done it, yeah. And I can speak to this a little, because do you remember when, like, the AI boom was happening? Like, it's thankfully that bubble has popped a little now, but, like, you know, companies are still pushing it because they've invested like billions into it. But during like the AI boom, I did receive several messages from AI companies asking me, hey, do you want to upload your entire archives into, like, our system and allow us to create an AI version of Fiend? And I legit thought about doing it just to see if it'd be any worse.
Well, I mean, don't forget that Adobe already did that with your accidental permissions anyway.
Yeah, because that's the thing Adobe did. But I was tempted to do that until I thought, no, AI can't tell a joke. I can't tell jokes off that well either, but at least I try. But yeah, it's a thing. And I imagine there's a lot of YouTubers out there who got that and said yes, because they did offer me a lot of money. A lot of money. And I had to say no.
I did see recently that the, like, CEO or head or whatever of Amazon Games was in an interview, and they literally say, like, oh, when asked, like, you know, about the use of AI, they're like, I'm gonna have to be careful about what I say here. And then 30 seconds later we're saying, yeah, we can use AI to do actors because there's not really acting in gaming.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's you being careful about what you're saying right now.
What they really want to say is, we don't like paying people money. We'd like to keep all the money for ourselves. And that's why I got the AI version of you, Lucas, to do this video.
Oh no. Do you remember that time, like, I got replaced by a robot because we lost my audio?
Oh yeah, your audio got all screwed up, so we just got, like, a voice changer in and just re-record it after the fact. And that was a joke. But you know, I think there's that, like, React YouTuber. I didn't think there's a way to make a React YouTuber even more of a fucking parasite who contributes nothing to culture. That he just created an AI of himself and licenses it out to, like, those shitty, like, 5-minute crafts-inspired videos. And it's just an AI version of his face going, wow, that's great, cool, awesome.
Oh no, the gummy bears are getting squished. Couldn't we have just eaten them? Watch the colors blend. A modern candy art piece.
And it sucks for us as well, because like 90% of our footage is me in front of a green screen. So if someone wanted to do that to me, they can. Because I unintentionally made it super easy to just cut me out. And it's like, no! And Lucas, I don't want that to be the end of the video. It's real depressing. So instead, let's just talk about movies for a moment. What's the last movie you saw? As I said, I watched Alien Romulus yesterday and just, CGI AI Ian Holm. Cool. Fucking awesome. I'm so, like, it's a good movie. Every second that character is on screen is distracting because it just looks shit. Just get a guy in who looks sort of like him. Or, and here's the thing, you could just not put him in.
You could just make a new character.
You could just make a new character. Because that's the thing, they've got a new android character in that movie, and that android character is awesome. They're the best part of the entire movie. Why not just get him to do 2 roles? And have him like acting against himself, like Michael Fassbender did, which is the best part of the Prometheus movies.
Yeah.
And if someone out there's thinking, well, they probably didn't want comparisons to the Prometheus movies, they literally resurrected a dead actor from the first movie to put a reference to that one in. They obviously didn't care about evoking the feelings of earlier movies in the franchise. They literally brought that guy back from the fucking dead to put him front and centre on screen. And it's awful, because his performance is terrible. Because it was done with AI, and it can't emote the way the original actor could.
I was going to say, of course it's terrible, because the actor's not there.
But yeah, do you have, like, what's the last movie you watched, Lucas?
Well, the last movie that I watched a couple of days ago was The World's End.
Okay.
Because I just, like, walked into the living room, I was like, you know, we had a couple of friends around, and they were already deciding, like, what movie they want to watch on Netflix or whatever. I just walked into the room with them saying, let's watch The World's End. As I'd watched it, like, a month ago for a Wiki Weekends video, and was like, I guess this is my next 2 hours.
And did you just sit there? Like, Lucas, I've got a question for you. Did you become that guy? Were you telling people all the fun facts about the movie you learned during that Wiki Weekends video, or did you manage to hold your tongue?
I did hold my tongue, but afterwards, because they were a bit less familiar with the Cornetto trilogy, I did point out to them the fact that, like, if you go back and watch the start of the movie, they explain the plot.
Oh, yeah, like, very typical for an Edgar movie.
The typical Cornetto trilogy thing of, like, at the start of the movie, they explain everything that's going to happen throughout the movie, and they didn't know that, and then we watched the start and they found that interesting, but I wasn't popping my head in throughout the whole film.
You weren't like David Beckham in it, of like, just staring through and giving some facts. Yes, me and Lucas have done a Wiki Weekends video on The World's End, and indeed numerous movies in the Cornetto trilogy. I think we've done them all now, right? We've done a Hot Fuzz, a Shaun of the Dead, and a World's End one, right?
I don't know if we've done a Hot Fuzz one for the new channel.
Okay, in which case, just go bug us on the new channel on Wiki Weekends about doing a Hot Fuzz episode. It worked for the Red Hulk one. Enough people asked for a Red Hulk video that me and Lucas went and made one, because we forgot that we put that in a video. And then we were both there after, like, a few weeks ago going, why is everyone commenting asking for a Red Hulk video? And oh shit, I asked people to say that in a fact feed video and totally forgot.
Because we told people to do it.
And I forgot.
Why. So presumably that Red Hulk video is out by now, the people that were asking for it.
Yeah, I'll make sure this one goes out after the Red Hulk one, so I can, like, put the link at the end. So if you stay to the end of the video, you'll see, like, the little thing that says, click this and go watch the Red Hulk Wiki Weekends video. And I can't believe in that entire video, we never just found out why he's red.
I don't think we did.
We'd never found out why he's red. You think that'd be covered on a wiki, right? But it wasn't. So you know what? Yeah, folks don't.
He's angry?
Is he angrier? Is it because he's American?
Angry?
And he's like red, white, and blue? In which case, where's the blue Hulk and the white Hulk so they can all, like, do gamma charges together?
Well, if Marvel vs. Capcom taught me anything, there is, like, a light blue Hulk as well.
Yeah, there's light blue Hulk, just like baby blue Hulk. There was, like, green Hulk. There was, like, really green Hulk. There was, like, grey Hulk from, like, the MCU, because, like, they just washed all the colour and fun out of those, like, characters.
Would it just be, like, a little bit offensive if they made White Hulk?
I don't know. I think they should do the White Hulk, but make him, like, really pasty white, like an engineer from Aliens. Or like Austin Butler from the Dune movies. You like that kind of, like, that chalky white.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, go check out those videos at the links you can find below.